class. So, many things to discuss before we start the class. Okay, first, internship. So thank you so much. You sent me so many applications. I mean, that's good. I didn't expect to receive so many applications. It's very difficult to make a choice because basically I don't know you, so I don't know how to make a choice. I really have no idea. So what I try to do is you have very nice CV and also cover letters. Like yesterday I got a cover letter from a Vietnamese student to talk about Plato and my book on violence. Who was that? It's you. Very good. So that was a very good cover thing. So the problem is that at the university they don't teach you how to write cover letters, how to write good CVs, but this is gonna be very important in your career. So for what's her name? Lynn. So for example, Lynn wrote that she was that Plato triggered her interest, and she also had a look at my CV and she said, I like this on your CV, I'm interested in this. So this was a very good job. Writing a cover letter is difficult and you have to learn how to do it. You did it great, congratulations. Then, as I said yesterday, so Sabrina, she's not here, but she's not here, so I can talk about. So she wrote at the beginning of her CV, she wrote, Sabrina is one of these persons who have existed in the world. Not a genius, but pretty well skilled. I mean, I found it very original, so this really triggered my interest. So you have to, when you write a cover letter or when you write a CV, you must show that you're serious, you're skilled, you have good skills, but also you have to put something which triggers the attention of the employer, of the person you wanna do. So you must show that you're serious, but you must always put some, a small element that capture the attention of the person you're addressing. So also, what is your name again? New, you're like an artist of portfolio CV. You have a very impressive thing. So the problem is that I really don't know you, so I don't know how to make my choice because you never know. Last year I picked students after midterm exams, so I knew if they were genius or they were completely ignorant. Right now I have to go blind. So the only criterion that I use is to pick the person who has more things in the CV. And here we have one person in the CV who is basically claim to be developing a new model of artificial intelligence and being a great writer of novels. So I mean, if it's the most skilled. So what's your name? Sorry? Alice. So Alice, you're gonna start to work with me on this thing because your CV is more complex. So since tomorrow you're gonna help me with these things. First thing, you have to put all the my slides on this computer to make the computer ready before we start the class. To make this open, it's boring. Are you sure you wanna do it? Sure. Okay. So. Since Monday, you're gonna be preparing this, and right now you prepare this and you make it circulate, which is a paper in which you have nationality, name, surname, nationality, and a topic of your interest on which you would like to make a presentation. I'm gonna show you again the topics. Okay? So, these are the topics. You can pick one subject of this. Like sometimes we have two subjects in the same class, like Industrial Revolution and Saint-Simon. These are two different presentations. John Stuart Mill and Alexis de Tocqueville. These are two different presentations. American Revolution and French Revolution. These are two different presentations. Montesquieu and Enlightenment, two different presentations. Okay, so you write as a, yeah.
Should we write it one more time, even if we did it yesterday, the topics?
Yeah, why not? I mean, repeating is always good. So, yeah, let's write it again. So, what is it gonna be? This is not compulsory. If you wanna do it, you do it. If you don't wanna do it, you don't do it. It's not, doesn't make a big difference. You only do it if you feel motivated to, I don't know, to better understand the topic or to make a presentation in the class and so on. How?
Professor, because I'm doing the presentation on Monday of St. Augustine, I don't do this, or do I do it?
Okay, don't do it. Yeah, right. Because I need it.
Okay.
I'm gonna prepare my assistant is gonna prepare a file Excel in which I have all names, matricula, the topic you present, and the list when you attended the class.
Okay, great.
Okay, so it's good to have it.
Okay.
Let's repeat it. So, what's your name again?
Luisa.
Luisa. So Luisa is gonna present on Monday on St. Augustine. Okay, let's see if Luisa understood what we have to do. Luisa, what do you have to do?
So it will be a presentation, like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
about.
Speak up, please. So
Huh?
Speak up.
It's a presentation of 5 minutes about the book that we have the author of choosing, or in my case, St. Augustine, and we have to read and explain the, for example, mine, City of God, and then read an excerpt that it's in the book that you told us that we can. But if we don't like any of the things that you told us that we can read, we can find something on the internet and read that. But we have to prepare the thing that we read. We can have music on the background if you want, but it's not necessary.
Very good, Luisa. Very good. So, you pick one topic. Like, for example, let's say Luisa picked St. Augustine. St. Augustine. The presentation is going to be not on St. Augustine in general, but on the most important book of St. Augustine. So you pick an author, you have to pick you have to choose the most important book of this author. The most important book of this author, and then you have to make a presentation on the most important book of this author. In the case of Luisa, is The City of God by St. Augustine. So you have 5-6 minutes. How do you use these 5-6 minutes? 2-3 minutes you're gonna say something about this book. When was written and what is about? Why is it important? What are the main contents of this book? And the other 2-3 minutes you're gonna read the parts of this book that you pick, that you select. Okay? If you feel inspired, you can put some music in the background of the book. If you don't feel inspired, no music. Okay? When you come to make this presentation, you bring your own laptop. Okay, so we plug your laptop and you have the text that you're reading here. You can put some slides if you want to put some music in the background. So you're going to use this. You bring your laptop and we plug your laptop. Is that clear?
Yep.
Okay, so where do you find the texts that you have to read? You find it on Microsoft Teams. You're all in Microsoft Teams, right? Okay, very good. So you go in Microsoft Teams. I'm gonna show you now what do we have in Microsoft Teams. The files part. So our presentation is gonna be about this point of reading texts, original texts. Why? Because last year and 2 years ago, I gave presentation on the author, like for example, St. Augustine, or Nietzsche, or Marx. So the presentation, the students came and started to talk about the life of these guys. Like Marx was born in 1826, his father did this job, his mother did this job, then he grew up, he went to this school, he went to the bathroom at this time, and blah blah. They only talk about the life. I don't care about the life. We don't study history. Here we study the history of ideas. So we study ideas, not history. Like when people come and they ask the French Revolution, they start to say, yeah, French Revolution, this day they killed the queen, these days the queen. No, we're talking about ideas, not biography, not history. You have one course of modern history, you have one course of contemporary history. They're interested, like for example, what time Napoleon took breakfast these days, and blah blah blah. This is for historians. Here we want to understand what Napoleon was thinking, what was his main ideas, his main concept. We focus on concepts, not on history. So this is why this year we're gonna go in the text. We're gonna read the books. So Microsoft Teams, you go on File, okay? I put this new folder, which is purple. Why is purple? Because I'm from Florence. What is purple in Florence? The football team of Fiorentina. So here you go on the purple original sources from presentation, and you have two books. These are two anthologies of the best in which you find the most important texts and the most important parts of this text. You look at here and you should find something good. If you don't like it, you can go on the internet and say, okay, find me good quotations by this book, if you don't like it. Okay, I hope right now this is clear. So you pick an author, from this author you found what is the most important book of this author. From this book you have to make 2 minutes presentation, what is this book about, how do you find what is this book about. Here also I did the work for you, and what I find is here you have all the text for the exam, right? So here, if for example, you go here and you can find, you see all the authors we have addressed, and you also have, for example, Sant'Agustin here, dov'è? Okay, let's say it is there. I cannot read from here, but yeah. Let's say, yeah, A11, Middle Ages. It's in Middle Ages. No, it's, yeah, number A13, Augustine. So you can open one file from here and get the explanation of the book, or you can go online. As you know, I have nothing against artificial intelligence, but it hallucinates. Sometimes you say bullshit. So I suggest not to use it, because maybe you come here, you say a big bullshit like ChatGPT. Sometimes say big wrong thing, let's say. And so I suggest not to use artificial intelligence to prepare things at the university, or at least to always double check the real sources. Okay, so you go here, you read the Sant'Agustin, or if you don't want, you read everything. You prepare 2-3 minutes, slides with slides or without slides. This book is about this. The Prince, the most important book by Machiavelli, was written in this year for this purpose. His main concept are this. And then let's switch to read some part of the book The Prince. And then you read the book The Prince with music, without music, with slide. It's important that you have the texts here, so the other students can also read beyond this. I hope oral presentation is clear. On Monday, we're going to start with Lisa. The other task is slide preparation, as I said. Slide preparation. So, who remember what is slide preparation? Yes?
So we listen to the lecture, make notes, and then basically also improve the presentation that you have behind.
Exactly. So, slide preparation means you come here, you take notes from my presentation, from my lecture, and you prepare the slides from my lecture. This is very important, because I want to use a textbook, a handbook, but I don't like the handbooks that are on the history of political thought. So I'm trying to develop my own handbook with the slides, and I want to improve my slides, and to get the best slides ever. So you help me in this. The slides must be on my class, on what I say. You don't go online and find other topics on the other principle on the topics. You just stick to my class. Okay, I hope this is clear.
For oral presentation, if the topic is not a specific author, like for example Enlightenment, we should choose like, for example, Immanuel Kant and read it.
Exactly, yeah, that's a good point. So if it's French Revolution, you pick an author of the French Revolution, just to be sure you double check with me. Like for example, for the Enlightenment, Kant, it's good. For the French Revolution, I want you to use one author who's called the CAS. For the American Revolution, there are many authors, so you pick one and you tell me. But this would be, for example, Declaration of Independence would be better, or the Constitution would be better. So you will double check. When there is not an author, we double check. Good question. What's your name? Sabrina. Sabrina, we have two Sabrina in the class. Where is the other Sabrina? Ciao, Sabrina. So, okay, so we have the first inter. Yeah, with so many. Sorry? No. So, we have the first inter. We're gonna have other inters. This, she's gonna start to assist me with the teaching part, but then she's gonna be moved on the video recording. It really depends on our movie director, Charlotta.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this recording, but you need one person to help you, and also
Yes.
Massima and Roberta. So you will have other classes. You cannot be always here, or you wanna do all the registration during all the classes. So we need other people to do it.
Yes, because next week we will start at 9 another courses, history of
International relations.
Yeah.
Okay. Same Charlotte, right?
Yeah, I would like one assistant.
So we're gonna need the two interns who do these recording things. So already, this is Monday.
Monday. We start.
Monday.
No, the 3rd of March.
Monday, 3rd of March. Massima. Charlotta. Next week, next Monday, or the first, or in 2
From
weeks?
March, yeah, not next Monday.
No, it's the
Check.
March 3rd.
It's the week after next.
Oh, the next Monday is March 3rd?
Just
Are you
1
sure
minute. 1
You're
minute.
on the 3rd year.
No.
How do you know?
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
It's in 2 weeks, yeah.
It's in 2 weeks, not next Monday, it's the following.
Just
Okay, so can you come next Monday so I
Yes.
have the time? Okay, so already we need two other interns. These two other interns is gonna do video recording as they do. We have one webcam which is plugged. I'm gonna give you the webcam. You plug it on your laptop and you record through. What's the name of the software?
OBS.
OBS. Okay, this is one. The other one can register with his own phone. So I'm gonna pick two others. I'm gonna tell you Monday. Two other people who's gonna do this. All the people who send me CV and application are available to do this, right? If somebody is not available, yes, is not available for this, it's not the no. We're recording.
Can you move a little?
Thanks. So, okay. So, we're gonna have already two other interns. Then I'm gonna tell you on Monday. So we're gonna have already other interns. What is your name again? No. So for you, I have this task on the comparison between these two books, which you still wanna do. But we're gonna discuss at the end of the class, okay? But not like yesterday. Today you stay 2 minutes. Yeah, okay, but you will wait for me. Unless you have another class afterwards? No. Okay. So many things to do. This course is a bit complex, so we have a lot of technicalities. Let's get back to the structure here. So the structure of the course is that we're gonna have a midterm exam. This midterm exam is in the middle of the course, so it's going to be at the end of the 4th week. This you count, but it's like late March. Midterm exam in week 13. But the midterm exam is in week 13, but it's here, but it's not about this. It's until Rousseau. So it's week 1, week 2, and week 3. Is it clear? How does it work? It's oral. I'm gonna make two questions. One about antiquity, one about social contract. If you don't know, bye-bye. If you know it, good, is the cum laude. If you're a little bit struggling, we might go on and ask more questions to see if you are good or not. But you come here, you listen at the classes, you start the slides, you take notes, so everybody should, who is here should take the maximum break immediately. No hesitation, okay? Then, those who pass the midterm exam, at the final exam only study week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, and week 8. Week 8, this we have to better understand what we're going to discuss in the last week, because I know I want to do post-colonial and so on, but still undecided. As I say, oral presentation. If you have one author on one topic that you like very much in the history of political thought and is not here, you're more than welcome to offer it in the paper. Since we are an international class from many different countries, maybe you have a political thinker or a philosopher from your country which we don't know, and you want to present this philosopher, this political thinker, this important person in this class, this is more than welcome. Like for example, we don't have Chinese students, but in China they have Confucius, it's their most important political thinker. We don't discuss it here, but it's a very important political thinker. If somebody wants to present about Confucius, more than welcome. Buddha, very important political thinker for me. If so, this is, feel free to offer other things, other topics which are inherent to your country, or somebody who is not here. So, after this long introduction, we can start the class today. So, we went through, so far we addressed all the Greek political thought. All the Greek political thought. What do we have to remember? So, first question I might ask you at the exam. Where does the word politics come from? Who knows that? Yes.
The word polis from the ancient Greeks.
What is a polis?
It was sort of a city because the Athenian people, they wanted to gain some they wanted to get away from the persons, and because there was tyranny, and they decided to
Self-govern. Self-govern themselves. Very good, thank you. Yes, so the word politics comes from the word polis, which in ancient Greece meant the city. Because in the city, they started in the Greek cities in 500 years before Christ. For the first time, they started to build political institution for self-government. And they invented crucial things that we still use nowadays, like, for example, democracy. Democracy. What does it mean, democracy?
People get involved in politics.
Exact meaning. That's good.
They get to choose.
So, first word is, say again.
What?
Say again what you say.
That people get to choose. So people get involved in politics.
People. How do you say people in Greek?
Citizens.
Demos. Yeah, so it's democracy is demos, and krasi, what does it mean? Government. So democracy, government of the people. The problem is, who is the people? The people is not everybody in ancient Greece. It's only the citizens. And the citizens excluded slaves, women, foreigners, minors, so excluded 90% of the population. So it's called the government of the people, but it's not exactly the people. So it's only the people are only the citizens, right? Like in Italy, when you say the Italian people, you mean the Italian citizens. It's a bit complex. So the people are the citizens. This concept of citizenship they invented in ancient Greece, and is crucial. It's crucial. It defines the political community. It defines the we. When we say we in political terms, we mean probably the political community to which we belong. Nowadays, in contemporary times, this political community is the nation, mostly the nation. In ancient Greece, it was the city. In other times, it refers to empires, so it changed a lot. But citizenship is the political community. Being citizens means being a member of this political community. So, this is one crucial concept. These are two crucial concepts from ancient Greek philosophy developed in the city-states police, which are so citizenship. And then, what else do we have? Which are other crucial concepts in ancient political philosophy? Or remember other crucial words?
To act with virtue.
Virtue. Virtue. So, citizenship, being a citizen gives you rights, but also gives you duty. And all this duty, we can understand them by the duty of acting with virtue. With virtue means that you have to act in the interest in the general interest, not in your own private interest. So we have seen that Aristotle makes this distinction. He says, in Greece we have three different forms of government: monarchy, aristocracy, and polity. All these three forms can be. There is not one which is better and one which is less good. The point is if the person who rules act in the public interest with virtue or act in the private interest of himself. When it acts in the private interest, the monarchy, which is one person who rules, become tyranny, which is one person who rules in his own interest. The aristocracy, which means few people rules because they are the best. Aristos means the best. It's the government of the best. Become oligarchy. Oligarchy when these few people rules in their own interest, and it become from aristocracy, which is the government of the best, to oligarchy, which means the government of the few people. Few people in their own interest. And the same, polity is the government of the people. But when the people act in their own immediate interest instead of the interest of everybody and the future of the community and the community in itself, it becomes democracy. Like how can it happen that the people not govern in the common interest, even if it's the people? For example, they don't think of the future. They only look at their immediate interest, and they don't take care of the environment, of the conditions of the future generations, and they only act in their own immediate interest. So virtue, very, 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 very important political concept. So here we have some concept. There is one concept which is more important than everyone else, and I want you to learn very well. Which is this concept? Okay, nobody's gonna pass the exam.
Concept of justice.
What?
Concept of justice.
No. So, one book written, the most important book written by Plato. What's the title? The Republic. It's you see, Republic. Republic is the most important concept in ancient political thought, and this is a concept that you have to learn also for nowadays. Do you know what is a Republican? If you heard a discourse which is about republicanism, if you see that there is one party which is called Republican Party, what does this party want? What want Republicans? Republicans say it's not that important, the democracy, the fact that you have all the people, they are equal and they have the equal right to participate. No. It's more important people who participate more. The more you participate, the more you have rights, the more you are entitled to have something to say in the political life of the community. So, republicanism is about participation. It's about the fact that all the citizens must be active, must be ready to take part in the political life of the community. And this comes from, for example, the fact that everybody has the right to bear arms. To have arms, to have arms because is not, because otherwise if only the police and the state have arms, there is a relationship of domination. Instead you must be ready to resist to the unjust power of the state, and also you have to be ready to fight for your political community, for your city-state, for your nation. So republicanism is this. This is why for us in Europe it's completely ununderstandable the debate they have in the United States of America about the right to bear arms, which is a constitutional right. For us, for me, it's something, you know, very ugly. But I understand the fact that the Republican Party say this amendment comes from our tradition, the Republican tradition, in which we say that all citizens has the right to bear arms, because all citizens must be active, must be ready to take arms to defend the nation, and must be ready to take the arms to fight against unjust power from the government. When the government want to have too much power, you must be ready to resist, and to resist you should be able to have arms. So republicanism means is different from democracy. Democracy say everybody who is here in this class has the right to participate in the political life of the community, has the right to vote, has the right to express his own will. Republicanism is say no, it's different. The more you participate in the political life of the community, the more you're active, the more you're ready to risk your life, the more you're ready to serve for the state, the more right you should have. So the republic is this idea of, you know, emphasizing the participation, emphasizing the activism. And the ancient city-states, we call it democracy, but they were based on the idea of republic, you know, of this idea that everybody should take place in the political life of the community. And instead, as I said, in the police, every citizen should serve for the government at least once in the course of their life. Once you should be minister, prime minister, judge, but you must, you know, sometimes you must take care of something which is a public office, at least once in your life, so that all citizens must be informed about politics, because you know that at least once in your life you should be able to be part of the government. So these are the crucial concepts of ancient political philosophy. And as you say, this is not so clear from my slides, and so this is why we want slide preparation. We want to make slide preparation because these things can be written in more clear way. It's somehow clear, but you know, we can do it better. So this is, and then we went through the three most important philosophers that started to gather together in the academy established by Plato. Plato was the student of Socrates. Socrates, very ugly guy, not well dressed, but very smart. He invented Western political philosophy by going to the street of Athens and talking to the youths and say, your youth, the development of knowledge is questioning what you know. Is questioning, is discussing, is making step forward. You know, so it was process. He went to a trial from the Athens government, because the Athens government said, no, we already have the knowledge. It's the knowledge of our religion. So he was accused to be impiety, to, you know, not to respect the religion of Athens. And so he went to trial, and they say, you want exile or you want to die? You want exile for sure. And he said, no, I want to die. I want to die because I believe in the political community, I believe in the laws, and I'm ready to die for these laws because I believe in political obligation. Political obligation means that you believe in the legitimate power which is constituted by a political community, and we establish this legitimate authority, and we want to obey to this legitimate authority even when the laws are unjust, because we want to make social order, because we think that living together and having political institution is for the common welfare. Okay, so this is Socrates trial, and then we went to Plato. We see that Plato is the founding father of idealism, of idealist political theory, which means I wanna describe the best form of government, the best city-state, the ideal city, no? So I wanna say how things ought to be, should be, versus realism, or you say, no, we start from reality, we look at reality, we describe reality, we critique reality, and then we see from reality where we can go. So idealism versus realism. This is all the political thinkers can be classified either as realism, as realists, or as idealists. Like, for example, we will see that Machiavelli is very strong realist. In some cases, it's not that easy to distinguish because, for example, Karl Marx, inventor of socialism, he describes a good world in which private property doesn't exist and everybody is equal, so he's an idealist in this ground. But to build this theory, he started the critique of capitalism. He's analyzed capitalism, how it works. So he put together idealism and realism. But when you hear an idea, a political discourse, you must be able to distinguish if it's idealist or realist. Okay, so Aristotle. So we have clear ideas about the ancient political, the ancient Greek philosophy. Very important philosophy. So Aristotle. So Socrates has a student. This student was Plato. Plato has a student. This student was Aristotle, and they established Western political thought. Aristotle has a student, Alexander. It was not his direct student, but he taught him. So, he taught him, and so Alexander, very good student, he destroyed the city-state in Greece and established an empire. So, bye-bye ancient Greece as a democracy situation of things. So, Alexander the Great started the Macedonian Empire and basically conquered Greece and the situation in which we have in Greece different city-states which were called the polis and which tried to exercise direct democracy. And so the focus of our course shifts from Greece to Rome. In 509 B before Christ, they founded a republic in the city of Rome. Also, see, the city of Rome functioned as a city-state, like the polis in ancient Greece. But then, in the following centuries, it became a huge empire. Okay, and what we see is that we have seen that Aristotle made this classification of the three forms of government: monarchy, aristocracy, and polity as the three forms. And he said the best form of government would be a mixture of the three that try to put the good things of the monarchy, of the aristocracy, and of the democracy all together. The Romans did it. The Roman Republic was organized through a mixed form of government, which put together monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy. How? So, here we want to see the institutions of the Roman Republic. So, we have to understand that here we're talking about the origins of Western civilization. The origins of Western civilization come from ancient Greece, come from ancient Rome. The Greeks were very good at thinking because they spent all their days in the square of Athens and say blah 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 blah. Very good in mathematics, arts, mythology, philosophy, mathematics. Very sophisticated people, philosophers, mathematics, huge brain. Romans a bit different kind of people, you know, very practical guys. Good at engineering, good at law, means they invented the Western kind of legislation. So they were very good at writing constitution, laws, and so on. They were very good lawyers, they are very good engineers, and overall they were very good soldiers, you know. They conquered almost the entire world, because at the time the world was limited to Europe. So, very good in building political institutions. So, the Greeks made the theory and the Romans made the practice. Aristotle was there, yeah, we have to understand these three forms of government, and they read it and they say, okay, let's do as Aristotle said. And they established the Roman Republic with a mixture of the three forms of government: monarchic, aristocratic, and democratic form of government. How? They had the monarchic form, and they don't want it. They, you know, the idea of republic. Let's start at one point to the idea of republic. The idea of republic is the opposite of the domination. The domination is one ruler who dominates. The idea of republic is against domination, wants to prevent domination. It's the idea that the res, which in Latin means the thing, is public, is common. So it's the idea of self-governing without domination. So this is why they put some monarchic thing, but not one, but two consuls, and only for 2 years. This was the monarchic power. So they had 2 consuls who ruled for 2 years, but they in a monarchic form, but for 3 years, and they have 2, not only one, to prevent domination. To prevent domination, to maintain a pure republican form. Then you have the Senate, because the Roman population was divided between the patricians, who were the aristocrats, and the plebeians, who were the normal people. Okay, so the patricians, the aristocrats, had their own Senate. They gather together and they discuss very important things. They are educated and blah blah blah. They are very well educated. They have ideas. So there is the aristocratic part in the Senate. And then you have the democratic, and then you have the democratic part. The plebeians were represented by the tribunes. They have people who represented their rights, and they went to the Senate and they went to the consuls, and they could make law in the interest of the people. So they put these 3 forms together: monarchic, aristocracy, and democracy. So yeah, this happens in 509 BC when the Roman aristocrats overthrow monarchy. They said, okay, before it was a monarchy, they said, no. Right now, the king have to go and establish this republic. So Rome was a republic in which citizens elect leaders. As I said, you have 2 groups: the patricians, who were the aristocrats, and the plebeians, who were the people, and they always fight. There was always a fight in the Roman Republic between the people and the aristocrats. The people and the aristocrats, they fight, but they always find a way to combine. A lot of conflict, but this conflict was producing good institutions. So the patrician was the wealthy people, landowning class that, you know, had a lot of power. The plebeians was the artisan, merchants, farmers, workers in general. They could not vote, but they could rule. So this was, you know, the forms of government. As we said, we have a monarchic part, which is the consuls, which are 2 rulers who are like monarchs, one lead the army, and one lead the government. Sorry, I said 2 years. It's 1 year. 1 year, each consul, and for 10 years they could not serve anymore, to avoid domination, to avoid too much power in the hands of just one person. So, as we say, we have the patrician, who are part of the thing, and if you're senator, you stay there for life, because you senate means old. So it's the parliament of old people. Senes in Latin means old. So when you get old, like when you get in your 50s probably, you're important in Rome. Everybody knows you. Everybody knows that you're wise. maybe you have fought a lot for the armies, maybe you have written an important book, maybe you have done something important, so they said, okay, now you can go to the Senate. And you stay there for life, because you know that you were a very smart person. So 300 people, foreign and domestic politics. Okay, and then we have the democratic part. So the tribunes elected the people, the plebeians elected their representative to protect their rights, okay, and to make law for the common people and for the republic. Okay, then what we have is very important in the ancient Rome is the army. So, yeah, as I said, they were not so smart, so intelligent, so sophisticated as the Greeks, but when it comes to fighting, they knew how to do it. You know, so they really organized a very, very well organized army. It was powerful. It was a key factor in all Roman history, the army. Why? Because as we said in the Republic, in a Republic the army is very important. In a Republic, what happened is that everybody in the Roman Republic had to serve in the army. So all the people, the plebeians, the normal people, the basic people, the working class, had to be part of the army. This means that they have their own arms, they know how to fight. And this made the situation in which every time that powerful people try to keep too much power, they revolt with the army because they knew how to fight. So if somebody tried to take too much power, normal people rebel. There is a riot, there is an insurrection, so that not much power is taken. So, okay, here we don't want to go too much into history this year. So, these Punic words, okay. This we're not gonna consider. I'm gonna remove this part. So, what happened? Let's say that at a certain point, this guy arrived, Julius Caesar. This guy has arrived and destroyed the Republic and established an empire. So, it took power. In 44 BC, it was why he took power. Why this guy took power? This guy took power because he was the leader of the army. He was the chef of the army. And when you control the army in ancient Rome, you control a lot of power. He started to conquer other parts. So he started to go. Especially he went to Carthage, and he destroyed Carthage. It was a long war. At the end, Rome won and started to conquer parts of Africa, very important parts of Africa. There was a very important civilization in Africa, like the Egyptian. So he was the leader of the army. He went there. He conquered. He destroyed Carthage completely destroyed. He even put salt so that nothing could grow anymore in where Carthage was. And he also had a love affair with Cleopatra, very, very beautiful woman who was ruling Egypt. So it becomes very important, very, very important. He becomes consul and blah blah blah. And at the end, he decided to be named dictator, to become a dictator for life. He said, I'm gonna be the dictator. Why? Because actually he took Rome and he made a lot of expansion, war, and he makes it so powerful, so rich, so powerful and so rich. Everybody was saying, this guy is extremely good for us because he makes us so powerful and so rich. So he decided to say, okay, I'm gonna become, everybody loves me, I'm the best, I expanded the territory, I make all the Rome so rich and so on. So, and also, you see that what he did, granted citizenship. You decided, okay, everybody who is in the territory that which we conquer becomes a Roman citizen. Is a Roman citizen. So it's the opposite of jus sanguinis in ancient Greece. So in ancient Greece you could only be Athenian if you had Athenian parents and so on. In Rome you can become Roman citizen if you're born in the Roman Empire. So he makes a lot of people becoming Roman. So he expanded the Senate, he created jobs for the poor, and as I said, he started new colonies, no? And so he said, you're poor here in Rome, you have nothing. Okay, you go in Africa, I give you 300,000 square meters, you can have your food, you can have a good life there. So everybody was happy with Julius Caesar, and they said, everybody loves me, I'm the best, I did the best things for Rome. I made a small republic becoming a huge empire. So right now I wanna be the emperor. But we have to remember that the Republican ideology is something very strong. It was something very strong in ancient world. It was created in ancient Greece, and it was very important also for the Romans. They really care about the idea of empire. So at the end, the senators say, yeah, I mean, this guy is very good for us, but he's becoming a tyrant. He's putting a principle of domination. Is killing our republic. And we don't want a domination. We love republic. So what they did. What happened to Julius Caesar?
They assassinated him.
Yeah. Who killed him?
All the Senate.
Who exactly killed him? Who was?
His son.
Yeah. What was his name? What? Bruto. Tu quoque Bruto fili miei. So he made him kill him by his own son, to say what you did. We tried to establish the idea of the republic, and you want to become a dictator, you want to become an empire. We care about republic. Republic is most important than everything. Our idea of non-domination is more important than becoming rich, becoming an empire, than becoming everything. We cannot accept this. So, and you make such a big mistake that we want your son to kill you. And the son say, yeah, I want to defend the idea of the republic, I'm going to kill my father. So they say, okay, Julius Caesar, very good politics, yeah, come here in the Senate, we're going to discuss all together, and blah. He came to the Senate and they stopped him. So this is why, because they believe in the republic. Okay? So Julius Caesar was assassinated. Yeah. Exactly. Tu quoque Brutus fili miei. So, Shakespeare played in Julius Caesar. So, okay. But then, the problem is that once you have done something, it's done. So, the Roman Republic was already done, and they started an empire. They have so much territory. It was so big, and they already have accumulated so much power in the hands of the army that then the republic was done, and we have other triumvirates, and we have moved from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. So I don't want to go too much into this point. It's not, here history is not so important. So I would just want to show you a couple of minutes of a video. Yeah.
Here are the letters the Romans gave us. And here are the countries whose languages derive from Latin. Today they cover half the world. As for the ancient Romans, the boundaries of their state encompassed their entire civilization. The Roman peace, or Pax Romana, serves as the first example of globalization. Let's take a walk.
So first example of globalization, you know. Rome was the first example of globalization because at the time we only knew that it was Asia, but we didn't consider, so the world was more or less Northern Africa and Europe, and they conquered all the world. They spoke Latin. Italian language comes from Latin, Spanish language comes from Latin, French language comes from Latin, Portuguese comes from Latin. So this is why they conquered all France and all Spain, all Portugal, and this is why we speak similar languages. Like if you're Italian and want to learn Spanish, it's so easy because it's the same basis. For me also French, whilst English is different, it's more difficult for us. So first try of globalization.
Walk across 12 centuries of Roman history. And yes, those peoples are also a Roman legacy. That is today. 2,000 years ago, there it is. Another 1,000 years ago, there. A tiny tribal settlement of the Latins by the river Tiber. How did this manage to conquer the world? First, it was lucky with its neighbors. To the north, the Etruscans of modern Tuscany, a mysterious people whose language.
So actually it was from Tuscany. They came from Tuscany, from my region, Florence, and we established Rome at the beginning as a village.
Which has never been fully deciphered. To the south, Greek colonies. These peoples all traded with each other. It was at the crossroads of their trade routes that Rome appeared. From the very start, Rome has been an open city, a safe haven for outcasts, murderers, runaway slaves. Rome offered migrants a unique opportunity to become fully fledged citizens. This will make Rome the largest metropolitan city of the ancient world. The Romans themselves believed they were descendants of refugees from the Middle East who had survived the Trojan War. Romulus and Remus were the great-grandchildren of the Trojan hero Aeneas. Nursed by an Italian she-wolf, the brothers quarreled where to site the future world capital. Romulus killed Remus, gave his name to the city, and became its first ruler. As legend has it, there were 7 kings, each of which enjoyed a lengthy reign and left some beneficial legacy. A calendar, a solar system, or the Capitolian, a temple to the senior god Jupiter. Much of what the Romans later became famous for, aqueducts, bridges, perhaps even the gladiatorial games, were borrowed from the Etruscans. This people had invented the Latin alphabet by adapting the Greek letters for their own needs. It's not surprising that their last kings were Etruscan. Rome borrowed her military and government organization from them, while maintaining her stern, patriarchal simplicity. In 509, Rome was shaken by a sex scandal. The son of King Tarquin the Proud raped the chaste Lucretia. Tarquin was expelled, making him the last king of Rome. The Romans decided to prevent any such concentration of power ever again. From 509 onwards, they elected 2 consuls to serve a year of peace instead of a monarch. The consuls were controlled by the Senate. This consisted of 300 fathers, patres in Latin, hence the term patricians. Those not so lucky to be born into the right families joined the plebs. Even if they were as rich as patricians, they were not entitled to take up positions in the state. It is in the 200-year struggle for these rights that the Republic, literally meaning public thing, will be formed. The plebeians would make up the backbone of the army, and to have their own way, they would threaten the fledgling state with emigration to a neighboring hill. Each time, the scared patricians caved in, introducing, for instance, the special position of a representative, or tribune of the plebeians. These had the right to veto any decisions of the consuls. One of the main achievements of the struggle was the publication of the first written laws. By 287 BC, the plebeians had achieved complete equality of rights with the patricians. The unity of Rome found its best expression in the formula Senatus Populusque Romans, the Senate and the Roman people, which still adorns the manhole covers in Rome. In 390 BC, the history of Rome couldn't come to an end. The city was unexpectedly taken by the Gauls. The guard dogs had sensed no danger, for which they would be crucified every year since. peace awoke the last protectors of the Capitoline Hill fortress instead, saving Rome from complete destruction. The shaken Romans conducted a military reform. The Roman legion was divided into maniculi, making it more mobile in battle. The Roman army spent the next 100 years in constant wars. Instead of simply imposing a tribute on the conquered, the Romans would enter into a treaty of alliance with them, and the loyal allies would supply Rome with a never-ending stream of recruits. Thanks to this, the Roman legions were able to stand their ground in battle with the most efficient fighting force of the time, the all-conquering Macedonian phalanx, led by Pyrrhus, a relative of Alexander the Great. The last stronghold of resistance in Italy, the Greek city of Tarentum, then hired the most costly and celebrated contemporary warlord of the time. But after each Rome had taken the greater part of Punic territory and that of their allies, but after each defeat, the trading power of Carthage would rapidly recover. Senator Cato the Elder began to finish every speech with the same refrain: Carthage must be destroyed, and so it was done. The city was wiped out, all of its population was enslaved, allegedly plowing salt into the air as an eternal curse. Also in 146 BC, the Romans wiped out another city, Corinth, making Greece and Macedonia Roman provinces. Rome appropriated the colossal riches of the disintegrating empire of Alexander, but the patriarchal simplicity of Rome succumbed to the sophisticated Greek culture. Greek became, in effect, a second-state language. History, rhetoric on rights, and not citizenship rights. These would demand equality, declare war, and win the right to take part in managing the state. This was a total game changer. While ancient Greece remained a collection of squabbling city-states, Rome gradually extended citizenship rights to the conquered, laying down the basis for an empire. Having conquered half the world, Rome fell victim to globalization. Cheap grain and an inflow of unpaid slave labor bankrupted the small farmers. These rushed into the cities and joined the ranks of the proletariat, those who have nothing to lose except their own offspring. At the same time, the rich grew 100 times richer, having bought land from the ruined peasants for a song. Previously united, the Senate and the Roman people split into two hostile camps. The tribunes of the people, the Gracchi brothers, would try to reconcile it. They proposed granting excess public lands to the impoverished peasants and suggested free distributions of bread to the poor. The disgruntled senators disavowed that development of the sea. Two outstanding generals fought over Rome. Wrestled Gaul, gave us many more. He went on to defeat the Germans and then invaded Britain. According to the law, a general had to dismiss his legions before returning to Rome, and in return have his moment of glory, a triumphal entry into the capital to the applause of the citizens. Caesar performed a hitherto unseen maneuver. He refused to submit to the Senate, and having crossed the Italian border, the river Rubicon, marched his legions to Rome. It would take him several years to defeat Pompey the Great and his other rivals, pitting Roman legions against each other. In the process, Caesar annexed new territories and gave Cleopatra the Egyptian throne. After a romantic cruise along the Nile, she would give birth to Caesarion, or Little Caesar. On his return, Caesar would add Imperator, or Emperor, to his name, title originally meaning victorious commander, and gain control of all political positions: consul, tribune of the people, and dictator. Rumor spread that Caesar wanted to declare himself king. Conspiracy was brewing in the Senate, and Caesar was assassinated. Caesar left his wealth, quite unexpectedly for all concerned, to his grandnephew, 19-year-old Gaius Octavius. This Octavian immediately joined in the power struggle. In 31 BC, he defeated his last rival, the warlord Mark Antony, who likewise had an affair with Cleopatra. The lovers would take their own lives. Octavian was left sole ruler of a vast territory.
Okay, so this is the idea of the Roman part of our course. It's so now we know the story. What is important in this story? what is important in this story is seeing that we went through many centuries. We started in 509 and now we arrived at 30 before Christ. So it's 400 years. Okay, it's very important for our civilization because they basically the Romans invented written law. They're very important. They're very important for political institutions and for law. They were jurists. Even right now, if in Italy you enroll in law studies, you have to take Roman law as one of the first exam because they really invented the foundations of modern legal system. Law means use, and still nowadays you think about jurisprudence, use. So they were excellent in legislation, in administration, in engineering, in construction, in military, in these things. Then as you see, they conquered ancient Greece, and they recognized the Greeks were more smart and intelligent. So when it comes to art, literature, and philosophy, they just rely on the Greeks. They were, humble enough to say, yeah, the Greeks were better, so we trust them on philosophy and so on. They don't do philosophy. They do legislation, administration, engineering, construction, and war. Okay? And they established this big empire. But as we see, when we have arrived to 30 years BC, here we have an empire. But let's say that when they destroyed the Republic and established an empire as a form of government, they started their decline. The Romans were strong when they were a republic. And republic is also the central concept for Roman political theory. So for all the antiquity, the most important concept you have to remind is the republic. Indeed, the most important book by Plato was called the Republic, but the Republic was called also the most important book by Cicero, who was the most important political thinker. Okay? He lived at the beginning of the Roman Empire, the end of the Republic, and at the beginning of the Roman Empire. As I said, since he was smart, he was educated in Greece, because from the most fine theory was made in Greece. So he became senator, he became consul, so he worked, he was an important public servant for the Roman Republic, and he defended the Roman Republic, always. He always defended the Roman Republic. And indeed, he wrote the book on the Republic, on the law, on the Republic. On the laws is the other one, but the most important is on the Republic. So his most important contribution is that he further developed the idea of the Republic. And indeed he was assassinated by the agent of the Emperor Marcus Antonius, because he always defended the Republic and was against the empire. So, what are the main points? So, he said that law comes from nature. Law has a natural foundation. Laws come from the nature and from God. So, law is the natural force within which we can measure justice and injustice. So, what is the Republic? The Republic is the instrument to which we make law real. It's the Republic means res publica, common thing, res populi, the thing of the people, or commonwealth, the commonwealth, the wealth that we have in common, the affairs of the people. The Republic is a moral community, a group of persons who in common possess the state and the laws. So the state belongs to the community, to the group of persons who are the citizens. And we establish a republic to secure the common good and to create mutual mutual advantages, to create welfare, to create more mutual benefit. The Republic is a corporate body whose membership is in the possession of all citizens and supplies its members with the advantages of mutual and just government. So, the authority of the Republic arises from the collective power of the people, and political power, when rightly exercised, is nothing but the corporate power of the people. And he believed in the excellence of these mixed constitutions who put together the monarchic principle, the aristocratic principle, and the democratic principle. So what he did, he tried to explain why the Roman constitution was the best form of government ever established in this original effort to put together monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy. So, we are done right now with the antiquity, more or less, with the antiquity. Then we slowly go towards Middle Ages. We are done with the antiquity. As I say, the most important concept we must retain from antiquity is the idea of republicanism. So, let's say again, republicanism is a political doctrine that comes from Greek political thought and Roman political thought. And it emphasizes, let's say again, the importance of political participation and of virtue. So, one point is political participation. The citizens have the rights but also the duty to take part in the political life of the community and to defend the interest of the community. And they have to do it through virtue. Virtue means that you act for the common good, not for your private interest. Participation in the community for the common good. The common interest is acting for political virtue. So, we say that Roman Republic tried to put in practice what was the theory from Aristotle. The theory from Aristotle was that there are three main forms of government that he recognized in ancient Greeks, which were monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy. The Romans tried to put this theory in practice, and they established this mixed form of government. So the Republic, the Roman Republic had a mixed form of government to put together the monarchic principle with two consuls, the democratic principles with tribunes, and the aristocratic principle with the plebeians. And then they have the army. The army is crucial for republicanism. The army is crucial because there is this idea that the people must be ready to defend the republic with army, and also that people have the right to bear arms because they want to defend them from the abuse of the political powers, from too much domination. So, indeed, what we will see, for example, is that when we will study the American Revolution made a lot of references to Cicero. We will see that one of the most important political thinkers during the American Revolution wrote under the nickname Cicero to write the Federalist paper. So, against for the last time, you must know what Republican is. What Republicanism is. And when I'm going to ask you, or when you're going to think about Republicanism, you must be reminded the crucial value of participation. Republicanism is about that every citizen has the right and duty to participate in political life. As I say, virtue, civic virtue. Civic virtue means that you act in the political life with virtue, in the common interest. This civic virtue, is something that allows a community to self-govern itself. So, for example, if you go to Berlin, in Berlin, I don't know why, but in Berlin, in Germany, they have a lot of civic virtue. This means that if you go to a public square or to a public garden, which is dirty, usually citizens citizens gathered together and say, okay, let's organize all together, and on Sunday we have free time. We're gonna clean up this common space together. We're gonna clean up our square all together. So this means civic virtue means that citizens, take active part to take care of the res publica, of the things that are in common. Conversely, you see that in other countries, in other places of Europe, you see that there is garbage everywhere, and that citizens don't take care of the common spaces altogether. That people take care of their own private home, but then they put garbage in the middle of the street. They don't give a shit about the fact that the common spaces should be taken care of collectively. This is the opposite way of civic virtue. This means you only mind your own private business. So maybe inside your house everything is super clean and blah blah blah, but when you get out, you don't clean the shit of your dog, you put garbage everywhere and blah blah blah. See, this is not having civic virtue. You don't think of the common interest, you only think of the private interest. So civic virtue is the idea that if there is something which is broken in the street, you gather together the citizens and you put it together. Why? Because this also prevents you from domination, because you don't need the state. If everybody acts responsibly towards each other, you don't need the police anymore, because if you see one person who's stealing something in the street, and all the citizens go there and say, no, you cannot do it, and react to this with civic virtue, you don't even need the police. Whilst in other cases, if you don't have civic virtue, if you only always wait the state to clean up the square, to clean up the garden, to send police to prevent crime and so on, you'll be dominated, because you need a strong political power who's taking care of you like a father. Republicanism say, we don't want domination. So we want all citizens to participate with virtue in the common interest, so we can reduce the domination by the political power, because we act with civic virtue. Republicanism is also about patriotism. Patriotism means that people are willing to defend their res publica, their common thing, their political community. They care a lot about it. They feel it like a value, So this is, for example, what makes the difference with the democracy. Democracy is just, everybody must have the right to participate. Then they can participate or not, but the important thing is that they have the right to vote and blah, 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 blah. Republicanism focuses more on duties than on rights. So it's active citizenship, it's civic engagement, what makes republicanism. And this is what politics was in ancient world. In ancient world, you have more rights if you participate more. Okay? So let's close this part on the Roman Empire. On the Roman Empire, the last part is that, we see that we arrive on 30 before Christ. 30 before Christ. Let's say that, what happened is that you have an empire, you have emperors, and the participation of the Roman population went down. In the same time, we have people from Northern Europe who were very, they were growing up in the cold forest and so on. They were very strong, very ready to fight, and they started to attack the Roman Empire. Why? Because they wanted to, take the gods that were there. So they started to sack, and at the end they even arrived to Rome. So the fall of the Roman Empire was technically produced by the Germanic invasions. So we have, for example, Attila was the leader of the united this barbaric population. We call them barbaric because they lived in the forest. They did not have written laws or particularly developed civilization. They were nomad. They moved and they used they exercised a lot of violence and so on. So they plundered 70 cities in the east. They attacked Rome and they attacked Rome You know, so here we are with 400 after Christ. Let's say this was the last. It was a slow decline, but in 452 the Roman Empire was destroyed. You know, and even the last Roman emperor, which at the time was a 15 years old named Romulus, was killed by the German warlord Odo Vassar. So this was, you know, the invasions of the Roman Empire from the North population. So we're done with Greece, we're done with ancient Rome. Let's say what we have technically, we have the barbarians coming from northern Europe, and they destroyed the Roman Empire. This is what history says, but here we're doing history of ideas, histories of concepts, histories of ideologies. So we want to understand that the crisis and the fall of the Roman Empire was also due to the fact that they had this political institution of the Republic and that they destroyed it. And also that there was another new political force growing within the Roman Empire, which was destined to become the most important political force in the next 1,000 years. So this new political force, which was becoming a powerful political institution and which had new powerful ideas. What was this new political force, in your opinion?
Christianity?
Yes, Christianity. So we see that the Roman Empire, the Roman Republic was destroyed a few decades before the birth of Jesus Christ, which came in which year? Very good. 0. In 0 we have Jesus Christ was born, and this was a big game changer, as we know. So, because they started to promote new principles, new ideas. You know, it was not only an idea of religion, but it was a new political principle. What do we have as a new thing? Let's say tomorrow we make the history, Monday we make the history. Right now, let's say that they promoted a new form of citizenship, which was the first universal citizenship. First universal form of citizenship, because the new thing by Christianity was that for the first time they say that we have this new realm. This realm is the realm of Lord, you know, the city of God, the Impero Celeste, we say in Italian, I don't know how to say in English. So it's everybody can enter this realm. Everybody can become a citizen of this realm. So we know that we have a lot of slavery in ancient time. Christianity said, yeah, you're a slave right now, you're unhappy because your life is very, very, very bad, but you can become a Christian and you can become part of our community. So it was the first citizenship which was open to everybody. It was the first citizenship who was able to talk, you know, to the poor people, to the deprived people, to the marginalized people, and you know, who was offering this new universal citizenship. So this was the starting of a new principle. It's very important because when the Roman Empire was destroyed in 400 century after Christ, the Catholic Church was growing up as a new institution. And when the Roman Empire was destroyed, the Catholic Church was destined to become the most important political institution in Europe for 1,000 years. Was destined to dominate politics in Europe for 1,000 years. So what we call Middle Ages is actually a Christendom, means is the empire of the Catholic Church, which we have for 1,000 years and which we call Middle Ages. Middle Ages, we consider it as not very productive moment in the history of political thought. Why? Because the church say, okay, we have the Bible, we have the word of the Lord, we have the Lord of the Messiah, Jesus Christ, we have the Lord of the Prophet, so we should stick with this. We should stick with this. We already have the truth, we don't have to search new. So it's kind of contradiction with the Socratic method, which founded the method of political theory, of modern political philosophy, and so on. So for 1 year, we will be stuck with this domain of the Christendom. We only make one class on this, which is going to be on Monday, by considering one of the most important Christian political thinker, which is Augustine, Sant'Agostino, which wrote this important book about the City of God, which is going to be presented by Lisa after my introduction to the topic. So, thank you so much for being here today, and enjoy your weekend. I'll see you on Monday morning. So Monday morning, I have to talk to you 1 second, and let's say Charlotta and Maxim, you can record on Monday, next Monday too.
Yes.
Okay, if you don't find anyone, so we can.
If I find anyone, it's better, right? You
I can
prefer?
record from this one.
Yeah. Charlotta.